Hello, my beautiful doves. My name is Mina, and today we're going to be doing our annual Met Gala costume review. So I've never been invited to the Met Gala, sadly, but it is the one event that all fashion people look forward to every year because it's like our Super Bowl, you know? There's a lot of surprise in there because people don't share what they're going to wear before they go. We don't even know who's going because the guest list isn't publicized until the actual event. And also, what's not to love about a themed costume party? It's the event where we either foam at the mouth because we see something so immaculate and so amazing on the red carpet, like Zendaya in 2018, or we take to Twitter and write our little scathing reviews in our pajamas from the comfort of our own home.
What was like your inspo if you had to name one thing or one person?
Oh my gosh. I love that like classic Hollywood look. That's what I'm trying to go for.
Why?
Both of them are equally fun endeavors. Just a quick history blurb of the Met Gala. For anyone who doesn't know, the Met Gala is essentially a fundraiser to raise money for the Met's Costume Institute. To give an idea of how profitable this event is, last year it raised over $16.4 million. Since 2005, the event has traditionally been held every first Monday of May every year. Last year we got a September Met Gala, but that was because of COVID postponements. It was like not a traditional thing. From now on and moving forward, I'm assuming it's just going to be May. The Met Gala was founded in 1948, and its origins weren't as prestigious as it is today. You had to be a member of high society or in the fashion industry, of course, but the Met Gala, or I believe it wasn't even called the Met Gala, it was like the New York Costume Ball or something like that. Anyways, this event was just like any other annual charitable benefit in New York City. When Diana Vreeland, the former EIC of Vogue, became consultant in 1972, that's when the Met Gala became a themed costume event. She also started inviting prominent celebrities like Elton John, Madonna, Diana Ross, which added to the Met Gala's star power and overall cultural relevance among wider society. Last year's theme was In America, a Lexicon of Fashion, which is based on a two-part exhibition, In America, an Anthology of Fashion. According to the Costume Institute's head curator, Andrew Bolton, the exhibition, which is presented across 13 of the American period rooms in the museum, provides a historical context for a lexicon in a way. The stories really reflect the evolution of American style, but they also explore the work of individual tailors, dressmakers, and designers. What's exciting for me is that some of the names will be very familiar to students of fashion, like Charles James, Halston, and Oscar de la Renta, but a lot of the other names really have been forgotten, overlooked, or relegated into the footnotes of fashion history. So one of the main intentions of the exhibition is to spotlight the talents and contributions of these individuals, and many of them are women. This year's Met Gala is based on the second installment of the exhibition, and the dress code for the event is white tie and gilded glamour. White tie indicates the standard of dress for formal events back in the day. Nowadays, I think people assume that black tie, which indicates a tuxedo, is the most formal event in America, but white tie is superior. According to the Berg Companion to Fashion, the luxe deluxe of formal wear is white tie, an ensemble that includes tails, wing-colored shirt, hand-tied white bow ties, usually in cotton pique or fine grosgrain, and corresponding white waistcoats, traditionally three-buttoned and cut low to expose maximum shirt front. For the feet, nothing but glossy pumps will suffice, topped off with a pair of silk decorative bows. And at the other end of the body, a top hat in glossy black silk is the point finale. For women, the white tie standard of dress was a full-length ball gown and evening gloves. Gilded glamour refers to the Gilded Age, which, according to Vogue, stretches from 1870 to 1890s. But I was reading the book 20th Century American Fashion, which actually notes that the era ended in 1914. Either way, everyone can agree that the Gilded Age was an era of opulence, excess, luxury, grandeur for the upper echelons of society. And no, Marie Antoinette was not part of the Gilded Age, and neither was Bridgerton. The Rococo period was in the 1700s and the Regency era was in the 1810s. So please remove the Vivienne Westwood portrait collection corsets from your Gilded Age mood boards, ladies. The Gilded Age was a period of rapid change in America, industrialization, immigration, and economic growth. And this change incited a power struggle between the nouveau riche, aka the new money people who were getting wealthy because of their growing businesses, think the Vanderbilts and the Astors, and the old money, aka established people in America who had inherited generations of wealth. Coincidentally, HBO released a new series earlier this year called The Gilded Age. I only watched one episode so far, but the series is all about this power struggle between the classes during the 1880s. The show is pretty visually spectacular in terms of set design. I love the Russells' opulent mansion, and it's pretty accurate with its costumes too. Again, I've only seen one episode, so maybe it goes absolutely bonkers later on, but I recommend it for anyone interested in the time period. And the reason I've only watched one episode is not because I think it's uninteresting or anything, but mainly because I don't have time. Okay, so let's get into the looks, because I know you're all dying for it.
Do you want it?
I don't want it.
Because you're asking for it. You're dying for it.
First, let's talk about Amy Schumer. What annoys me a lot about Amy Schumer is, okay, like I don't think we have a very similar sense of humor at all. But just like on a base level, it annoys me that she has talked shit about the Met Gala so many times for years now, and she still keeps going. In 2016, she told Howard Stern, "I figured I should have been grateful I was invited or something, but it felt like a punishment. It's not me and I don't like it. We're dressed up like a bunch of fucking assholes. I have no interest in fashion. I like the idea of coming up with a way to dress that's more comfortable. That sounds good to me. Other than that, I don't care." There's a lot of reasons to not like the Met Gala, but if you actually don't like it, then why do you keep going? Like, it just seems very performative and fake, and like, I'm just not like the other girls for her to be taking this attitude. And even, I don't know, just like looking at the photos and like the interviews of her at the event, it's clear she does not give a fuck. And I'm like, why are you there? Why? Anyways, let's talk about the outfit. She looks like Severus Snape meets the Penguin, meets the Matrix, meets three kids sitting on each other's shoulders in a trench coat. Look, I can appreciate when a woman goes for a menswear moment, but the fit of this and the way that it's styled is just extremely unflattering and very strange. Billie Eilish. Okay, Billie Eilish killed this look. This is probably one of my favorite looks of the night. She's wearing a champagne-colored Gucci dress that has this really nice corset bodice. She's also wearing green lace fingerless gloves. It's totally on theme. It looks very 1880s with this pronounced V bodice line and the ruching around the hips. Also, I think someone on Twitter even found like an image, a portrait of a woman who's literally wearing a very similar dress from the Gilded Age. So I appreciate the attention to detail, to historical detail. I also really love the subtle champagne color, which is a less popular and therefore I think more memorable choice to all the gold and silver on the red carpet. Also obsessed with the velvet choker, which was a personal favorite accessory of Queen Victoria. My only little nitpick is that the champagne color of the bodice and the skirt look a little mismatched, and her green sleeves also are not the exact shade of green as the one in her corset. If it all matched, this would have been like immaculate. And also just like a personal preference, I wish they did a darker color for the flower like in the portrait that people dug up, because I think it would have just been a nicer color balance than to have everything pastel. I also super appreciate that the dress is made of recycled materials.
Well, this is Gucci, and it is all existing materials. So we didn't, have to waste a bunch of stuff. This is all already existed, and just wanted to like be kind of as, eco-friendly as possible.
Totally.
And then this is all vintage jewelry. So like
Gorgeous.
Nothing was wasted and stuff.
Like, please, let's normalize the concept of creating beautiful garments without creating excess waste. So Blake Lively is wearing Versace. Her dress is made of tulle and it's embroidered with crystals and metallic leather to mimic the Empire State Building. The train on the dress depicts the celestial map that decorates the ceiling of Grand Central Station in Manhattan. I know this is going to be a polarizing opinion, but I was honestly not a big fan of this dress. Don't get me wrong, I think it's an amazing tribute. I think it's very well thought out. I think she's very on theme. I love a transition moment. The copper to green also represents the oxidation of the Statue of Liberty. So I totally think that conceptually this dress is amazing. For reference, the Statue of Liberty was completed during the Gilded Age, and Grand Central Station, even though I believe it was founded in the 1910s. It was built upon a pre-existing station which existed or which was founded in the 1870s. So everything says Gilded Age, okay, point blank. But I just don't love it on an aesthetic level. I feel like when I see a turquoise and rose gold color, I just think of like 2010s fashion. Which is not my favorite era. And I also wish that the bustle was part of the dress and not like wrapped around it like a belt, even though I know that it was necessary to do the whole transformation. That's just my opinion. I don't have a bone to pick with Blake. It wasn't my favorite look, but I can see why everyone liked it, okay? So, Camila Cabello. I don't know what the hell she's wearing because she literally looks like a bowl of Fruity Pebbles. She's wearing a Prabal Gurung white lace-up crop top with a full skirt that has pastel floral detailing and a very, very long train. The top honestly looks really cheap. It reminds me of something you would find on Pretty Little Thing or Shein. I don't know if it's because the top doesn't fit snugly to her body. There's a lot of room, it looks like, which makes it look ill-fitted and therefore cheap. But also the straps that cross in the middle is kind of giving festival attire. I don't know. The skirt is also just kind of like gaudy in my opinion. And the entire look does not make me think of Gilded Age at all. Camila also said this about her dress, which I've been trying to decipher for like ages now.
He made this dress completely upcycled and sustainable, which to me was like the Gilded Age. I think of luxury and materialism and industrialization, and this to me, having this sustainable dress, is kind of celebrating those trends of innovation and ingenuity, but like kind of applying it to the challenge that we have now.
So in conclusion, you admit that you didn't follow the theme. And I'm obviously not shitting on the sustainability influence because I praised Billie Eilish's look, but Billie Eilish and her stylist and designer were able to combine the Gilded Age with sustainability, whereas I feel like Camila and Prabal Gurung, and if there was a stylist involved, they just kind of went for like a new design. Emma Chamberlain, my friend Issa actually style assisted for Emma Chamberlain this season, so if you're watching, Issa, hi. Because of Emma's blood pact with Louis Vuitton, she is wearing Louis and Cartier jewelry. I love the top so much. This is something I would love to have in my closet. I would wear this all the frickin' time. The sleeves are totally representative of the leg of mutton sleeve resurgence of the 1890s. I also really like the skirt. The 1890s saw the end of the bustle period, so I don't think there needed to be a bustle, and I think it looks really good. And I know people love a bustle, but sometimes you just don't need one. And also the bustle was not prominent during the entire Gilded Age. So you can also see the Charles Worth reference in the dress, which I really like. The only thing I would have liked to see is a little bit more detail in the skirt, like maybe in the hem. Considering this is gilded glamour and Emma's look still feels like pretty safe and subdued. Also, a touch of yellow somewhere on the skirt would have been a nice way to balance the look. Okay, Emma Corrin. This was very unique and quirky, aka very on brand for Emma Corrin's normal fashion sense. They're wearing custom Miu Miu with Cartier jewelry. Cartier seems to be sponsoring a lot of people tonight. Her event is also inspired by New York socialite Evander Barry Wall, who in the 1880s was known for being extremely well-dressed. He often wore pointed collars, stockings, and silk hats. This particular image of him in a plaid coat was the jumping off point for Emma's look. Their stylist, Harry Lambert, also told Vogue, "I'm quite a strong believer that the Met Gala theme should be followed, and I thought it would be a fun opportunity to play with references." That is literally music to my ears, and I want to hear every stylist saying those words to me, because like that's your job as a stylist, to follow the dress code. So thank you, Harry Lambert, for doing that. Emma's look is one of my favorites of the night. I love an obscure reference, and she's also one of the only people to show up in a top hat. and it's a very fun look overall. So Emma Stone is wearing a sheer white silk satin mini dress by Louis Vuitton, trimmed with long white ostrich feathers. It's also the same piece she wore to her wedding after party, so okay, we love an outfit repeat moment. What I don't love is the dress itself, which is, first of all, not on theme because it's clearly like based on 1920s tubular flapper dresses, but I actually think it looks way more like a 2000s party dress. There's something about the dress that looks very casual. Maybe it's the lack of jewelry or the lack of like detail and shimmer. I don't know. Daisy Edgar Jones and Jodie Turner Smith turned out better Art Deco looks, but once again, 1920s is not Gilded Age. Evan Mock is wearing Head of State. For me, this is a partial slay. I think he looks great, and it's definitely a more interesting take than the white tie menswear that most of the dudes are showing up on the red carpet. Not that that's a bad thing, by the way, because at least they're following the dress code. It's just like an unfortunate fact that menswear during the Gilded Age was like kind of like not that interesting. Suits were kind of the norm. What bothers me more is that like when some dudes on the red carpet, they just like decide to wear a black tux and forego the white tie completely. Like all you had to do was put on a white tie instead of a black tie, and it would have been like this much more on theme. But you didn't do that, did you? Evan Mock did take some fashion risks here. I love the yellow. My only issue is that I think the design takes more from earlier historical fashion. If you look closely at the pants, you can see the subtle slashing details that resemble the popular painting cutout details in 15th through 17th century clothing. I also would have opted for an 1880s style corset silhouette, which looks more like this. In comparison, the silhouette of the corset jacket he's wearing looks way more like late 1700s stays. I also think a matching yellow top hat would complete the look much more. Okay, next is Gemma Chan.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
I'm gonna be honest, I think the leather jacket is terrible. It's too distracting and makes her look very boxy. The fact that it's cropped creates this unflattering, segmented silhouette. I do like how it swishes when it moves to give this like chandelier effect, but in photos it's just like not very cute. As for the dress, I've seen it before. It's Louis Vuitton Spring 2022, and actually on the runway it was styled with a blazer that would have made the look honestly more on theme. Hoyeon Jung also wore a dress from the same collection for the 2022 Critics' Choice Awards, and even had her hair styled the exact same way, so I would have liked to see something a little bit more original from Gemma. The shape of the dress also reminds me of robe de style dresses of the 1920s, so once again, not on theme. So Kim showed up in the Marilyn Monroe dress, the one that Marilyn wore to serenade President Kennedy on his 45th birthday in 1962. The dress was originally sketched out by Bob Mackie and designed by Jean-Louis, and has been on display at Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum for the last couple years, which Kim was able to loan out for the event. About the look, she said, "The idea really came to me after the gala in September last year. I thought to myself, what would I have done for the American theme if it had not been the Balenciaga look? What's the most American thing you can think of? And that's Marilyn Monroe. For me, the most Marilyn Monroe moment is when she sang Happy Birthday to JFK. It was that look." It would have been great if she could have done this look for the September Met Gala, but we've moved on. We're with a different theme now, babes. I know a lot of old Hollywood / Marilyn Monroe fans were against Kim borrowing this look. I think a lot of people are blowing it out of proportion. The whole process to get Kim into this dress was very long and arduous. Like, the museum did not play any games with this. They only allowed her to wear it for like 5 minutes on the red carpet before she had to go change and give it back to the museum. So they had very strict procedures. So obviously there was like a team of professional people who were not going to let this dress get ruined. And if you're against like the symbolism of Kim wearing Marilyn's dress, then that's fine. Like, that's your opinion. But I really am uncomfortable with the kind of rhetoric that I've seen online about people reacting to Kim's dress and being like, oh, she's so vulgar, she doesn't deserve to wear Marilyn's dress, or she's such like an attention whore. And these are a lot of the same sentiments that people spewed towards Marilyn when Marilyn was still alive, and I just think that's like not cool. And for the record, I do not think Kim and Marilyn are comparable figures. Like, Marilyn suffered a lot. She struggled a lot. She had very humble beginnings. Kim was like born rich and she's like extremely rich right now, and you know, like totally different narratives. But at the end of the day, I don't think Marilyn would have cared if she was alive today that Kim is wearing her dress. Like, she's not that kind of petty girl. And I don't know why people are getting like super petty about this whole thing. The only thing that I'm petty about is that it's not on theme. Also, she bleached her hair, but then put it up in a bun. So I'm like, if you're gonna do the bit, like commit to the bit. Like, why are we not doing a 60s hairstyle? And I also don't get the point of adding this like what looks like a very cheap faux fur jacket, which doesn't really add anything. I actually think it takes away from the dress. So yeah, okay, that's all I'm gonna say about Kim. Let's move on to Kylie. Kylie is, for some god-awful reason, wearing a backwards baseball cap under a veil to the Met Gala. The dress is from the Off-White Fall 2022 collection. And I mean, if you're gonna pick a dress from this collection, the other wedding dress, the one that Bella Hadid wore on the runway, would have been the more ideal pick, I think, because at least it has those, like, guy got sleeves that are kind of reminiscent of the Victorian era if we're gonna really stretch. But no, I don't understand this like floral wedding dress at all. The silhouette is like a hoop skirt. The sheer t-shirt underneath the bodice is confusing for any kind of formal event. The veil over the baseball cap, the fact that the baseball cap is backwards. I get that it's like a tribute to Virgil Abloh, but it seems like the entire Kardashian clan just repeated the theme from last year's Met Gala. They like didn't get the memo for some reason that we've established something else. So I am obsessed with Normani's look. This is probably my favorite look of the night. She's wearing custom Christian Siriano. Her top is puff sleeved with a strappy choker neckline. The skirt is asymmetrical and low rise. I love everything about it. It's opulent in a subtle way. I think the choice of using what looks like a kind of heavier velvet fabric was really good, because I think if it was just like in any other kind of fabric, it would have looked a little bit too subdued. If anything, I think Christian could have applied little crystals onto the dress, and it would have made it even more opulent, but he did his homework for sure. I love the choker collar, which is reminiscent of the high collar trend of the 1890s day dresses. The sleeves and the bustling layers of the skirt also pay an homage to the silhouettes of the Gilded Age. And the hat, there are not enough hats at this Met Gala. I feel like if you're wearing a hat, I will give you just major points for the fact that you're wearing a hat, unless it's a baseball cap. So yeah, it's fantastic. I love that it was a creative take, but you can definitely see all the historical inspirations. Chef's kiss. Sarah Jessica Parker. Okay. The headpiece is crazy, but I'm so used to seeing SJP in crazy headwear during her Sex and the City days that I'm a little unfazed. But I love it. Feather hat details were really popular throughout the Victorian era, so it's very on point. She's wearing a black and white ball gown made of silk, veil, moire, and taffeta with Swarovski crystal buttons. The dress is by Christopher John Rogers and pays an homage to Elizabeth Hobbs Keckley, who was the first black female fashion designer in the White House. The major inspiration was actually Elizabeth's gingham dress design from the 1860s. So SJP's skirt really leans into the 1860s crinoline silhouette, which makes sense given their reference, but 1860s was before the Gilded Age. So, overall, I do like the vision, like wanting to give an homage. I like the feather headpiece. I like mostly everything about the dress. I just wish that the skirt would have been a little bit more tight to give more of that late 1800s silhouette. And now some quick fire reviews because I'm getting tired. Shawn Mendes, looking like Doctor Strange, not in a good way. Anita, amazing. I love the deep purple jewel tone, love the pearls, love the bustle, very on theme. Thomas Doherty nailed it. Sometimes you just got to keep it traditional and simple and just mix up the colors. Men, take notes. Paloma Elsesser, easily one of my favorite looks of the night. Love a stacked high pearl collar, recalls the jewelry trends of the 1890s. Love a corset that actually resembles the Victorian corset shape and not 18th century stays. Love the little garter details. Overall, a very modern but definitely still Gilded Age inspired look. Vanessa Hudgens, honestly, silhouette is fire. Those leg of mutton sleeves are very nice, but the choice is just a little too safe. You know, we're talking gilded glamour. Where's the embellishment? All the details are just a little too subtle. The sheer fabric also feels too casual. I see a sheer fabric and my first thought is nightgown, not red carpet. Riz Ahmed loved Riz's vision here.
So this is a shout out to the immigrant workers that kept the Gilded Age golden.
That's amazing.
Yeah, man, that's what, makes the city run. So this is some workwear repurposed by 4S Designs, done in silk. Yeah, this jewelry piece is actually taking inspiration from like a lot of Islamic jewelry from India.
Amazing.
So yeah, just trying to elevate and celebrate that, immigrant culture.
I mean, he's wearing Cartier and is at an event that no immigrant worker would probably ever be invited to. But either way, I do appreciate the sentiment behind challenging like the mainstream historical narrative because, yeah, the reality is the Gilded Age was only gilded for a small subset of people. I usually do love a Katy Perry Met Gala moment, but the bustle and the panier is a little bit too much. I feel like there's 3 different dresses contained in this one dress. In photos, it actually looks pretty cool because you're getting one angle, but the 360 view, very unsure. Cole Sprouse, I'm extremely confused by this Inspector Gadget chic look. Maybe if you wore a sheer shirt or went shirtless under the harness instead of wearing that silver shirt, I would have liked it more. But the silver on silver on silver is very hard to pull off and it's just not working for him. The layering is strange, particularly with how the shirt overlaps the pants. Maybe if he tucked in the shirt, it would work better. I don't know. Also, how is this on theme, Cole? Where is your top hat? Nicola Coughlan, Slay the Boots house down. One of my favorite looks for sure.
If I actually go, I've really got to do the theme. I went on Pinterest. I do love a Pinterest and sort of put together ideas. Like I wanted to look at actual clothes from the era. And then Richard Quinn did these amazing drawings. We just really nailed it. And then he did these feathers on the runway and then a big old cape.
We love a girl who does her research. Okay, so that's the end of my Met Gala review for this year. Please let me know in the comments what your favorite look was, if there's any look that I didn't mention that you have strong feelings about. I obviously could not get to every single look worn at the Met Gala. I just tried to touch upon some of the looks that I really liked or had strong opinions about. But overall, I think my favorite looks of the night, Normani for sure, Anita, Nicola Coughlan, Billie Eilish, and Paloma. Probably my least favorite looks of the night, Kylie Jenner, Hoyeon Jung, who I didn't talk about, but she does wear something that's just like completely 21st century, like not on theme at all. Basically anyone who was just like so far from the theme, like Kieran Culkin, who I'm like, okay, we get it. Like you think you're better than the Met Gala. Anyways, Anna Wintour, my inbox is open for next year. Please send me a ticket. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.